On today's episode of What's Going On with Shipping, there's a ship aground on the St. Lawrence Seaway. That means it's time for our inaugural episode, What's Going On in the St. Lawrence? I'm your host, Sal Mercogliano. Yes, this channel started 2.5 years ago with the grounding of Ever Given in the Suez. Well, now it seems we have a ship that has gone aground in the St. Lawrence. This is the NACC Argonaut, who's actually been pulled off, so the ship has actually been removed. But I want to go back and talk about this vessel because we don't get a chance to talk about inland waterways very much, and this is a perfect time to do it. If you're new to the channel, hey, take a moment, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you'll be alerted about new videos as they come out. All right, let's jump into this. So here's the vessel NACC Argonaut aground, just really at the junction of the U.S.-Canadian border in the St. Lawrence Seaway, just north of New York. I'll show you where it is on a chart here in a minute. Canadian flag, NACC Argonaut grounded Sunday morning on the St. Lawrence near Cornwall, Ontario, about halfway between Montreal, Lake Ontario. The ship remained hard aground as of Monday with a slight list to port. There's a belief that the vessel is taking on some water. At least one tug is alongside. There's more there now because they've been able to pull her off. No injuries or pollution have been reported. The St. Lawrence, for those who don't know, opened in the 1950s. It's a binational waterway managed by the Great Lakes Sea Lawrence Seaway Development Corporation, which is a federal agency of the U.S. Department of Transportation, and the St. Lawrence Seaway Management Corporation of Canada, a nonprofit. And this water connects the Great Lakes to the Atlantic Ocean, something that had been a big goal for a long time. But because of the difficulty in getting past some of the lakes, Niagara Falls, from Ontario up onto Erie, and then through Superior up onto Huron and Michigan, you need a series of locks in there. And so this vessel is part of that system that goes into the Great Lakes. It's a really long voyage to go down the St. Lawrence Seaway. I've been down it a few times. It is a very tight passage, and there are certain places that are extremely narrow. This is Mike Folsom over on Twitter, Seaway Ship Watchers Network, a great follow. If you're not following him, you really should. He really follows what's going on with the Seaway at any times. Talks about here, U.S. locks preparing delayed traffic to begin moving again. The ship has been free to the rock shelf as of 9 a.m., tugs working to move it. And then you get this image here of the tugs pulling the vessel off. So kind of big news here. So let's go over to our buddies at Marine Traffic, and here is where you see the position of Argonaut, right here along just north of the New York border in Canada. I'll zoom in here a little bit. You can see it right here. This is Argonaut right here along with several other vessels. There's several vessels that are on location with it. This is the tug Ocean Ruby, Ocean Intrepid's right there, an auxiliary vessel, but this is Argonaut right here. I want to pull up its past track for you and show you where it's been. So sailed out of Montreal, followed the route here, came in through the locks system, in and around Montreal, and then proceeded down the St. Lawrence. Again, you see it moving down here, and this is the position right here, just north of Cornwall, where it got itself in trouble and grounded. It has been pulled off and is now in a position up a little further north, out of the way, and this is going to be able to start opening up traffic for it. If you look what's been happening here just north and south, you'll see quite a few vessels lined up here trying to get themselves southbound in the channel. Same thing here, vessels lining up over on the northbound aspect, waiting to get in here. They're holding their positions until the passageway has been declared free and clear by Canada and vessel passage can begin. Right now, they're probably in the process of stabilizing Argonaut, making sure that it's not sinking. In case of any issues, they'll push it up onto a shoal to make sure nothing happens. Here's the information on Argonaut, cement carrier, built in 2003, registered, the manager of the ship is Nova Algoma. Cement carriers, I'll go to them in a second. The ship was built in Japan. It's registered or classified through Italy. It's flagged in Canada. This is the vessel right here, the NACC Argonaut. It's part of the Nova Algoma Algoma. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know the word, so I haven't used this company too much in the past. Here it is, a joint venture between Nova Marine Carriers of Luxembourg and Algoma Central Corporation of Canada. Comprises two fleets, the NACC fleet, which are the cement carriers, and then the NASC fleet, which is the sea carriers. And one of the things that Canada has been doing that's really interesting recently is Canada has opened up their inland waters to foreign built ships. And they have allowed the use of foreign mariners on their vessels, largely Filipinos, is what we're seeing. So Canada has a much different philosophy in the operation of their vessels on the Great Lakes than the U.S., which is under the Jones Act. And so U.S. ships on the Jones Act, in Jones Act trade on the Great Lakes, have to be U.S. built, U.S. flagged, U.S. owned, and U.S. crewed. Canada's not that way. But it has its pros and cons. While many will make the argument that the Nova ships here are much newer, and more modern than the older U.S. ships. At the same time, there's been a lot of crewing issues up on the Canadian fleet on the Great Lakes. It also has impacted the shipbuilding capacity of the Great Lakes. On the Canada side, ship repair facilities. It's impacting the building of new Canadian Navy vessels. So a little bit of give and take here on the vessel. But the good news is it appears the St. Lawrence has been reopened. Now we're waiting for the clearance to go ahead for traffic to resume through that narrow little area right around Cornwall and Ontario. And we can expect to see that traffic kick back up. It'll cause a little bit of a backlog since this happened on Sunday, but expect traffic to be fairly normal soon. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, hey, take a moment, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you'll be alerted about new videos as they come out. Leave a comment, share it across social media, give it a big thumbs up, and if you can, support the page. How do you do that? You hit the super thanks button down below or head on over to Patreon and become a patron of the page. Until the next episode or until the next ship runs aground in some seaway somewhere, this is Sal signing off.